Brian, must be great to be back playing another 80 minutes under your belt.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Excited about being back and now back into European knockout competition. This is where you want to be from a provincial point of view. As much as your bread and butter is the Rabo, I think you definitely want to be competing against Europe's best, and a last 8 game this weekend is exactly the tonic that I personally need after 5 months out.
What was it like watching, Brian? What kind of a spectator are you?
Yeah, not great. I suppose once you realise you're not going to be involved for a long time, I think you're able to compartmentalise things. But the closer you get to it, I think the more difficult it gets, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. And now, finally, having gotten a couple of games under my belt, it feels good to be back. And you kind of forget what it was like on those lonely Saturdays when you were sitting at home and everyone else was playing games after a hard week's training.
Any effects after the first 80 minutes?
No, felt good. A small little bit of a dead leg, but that's what you come to expect in tough derby games against Munster. But we're delighted to have produced the result, and certainly when it was drawn up 5 or 10 minutes into the second half, we could have capitulated, but I thought we really drove on, and I felt that we were the only team really in the game at the end.
You're in a huge strong position now, aren't you, both in the league and obviously huge favourites in terms of the game coming up this weekend? Yeah,
I think the thing we have to be able to do is compartmentalise that there's 2 different competitions, and your form from one doesn't count coming into the other. You have to still be able to back it up, and that's what we need to do this weekend, and make sure that the consistency that we have managed to show over the last 2 or 3 months is brought forward, and if anything, up the standard, because when you get to the knockout stages of Europe, the best teams only carry on through into semi and final. So we have to make sure that we're that side, and we keep our standards at the point of where we expect them to be.
In contrast to you, Cardiff go in on a low note, and a lot of carry on with Gavin Henson over the weekend as well.
Yeah, I think you have to be wary of those teams as well. As you make the best of every situation, and sometimes when you go well, you take the positives from the form you've shown. But also, when you've had a bad result, sometimes there's a bit of a backlash from the team and a reaction to that. Particularly if management is getting on to individuals, it sometimes brings the best out in players. So yeah, I would imagine that they'll be looking this week at a disappointing result at the weekend, but you can be sure that they'll be able to shelve that and look forward to afresh to a new competition and a new opportunity.
Your injury layoff, Brian, has it made you even hungrier for success than you've ever been before?
Yeah, I think that's not just the injury layoff. I think success breeds more success and gives you a taste for what you can achieve, and I suppose the realisation is that I'm not going to go forever, so you have to get greedy and try and capitalise as much as possible on opportunities that present themselves. And we're in a good position in the league. We're in another Heineken quarter final, so it's not about trying to retain anything at this stage. It's about trying to win a quarter final and get ourselves into the last 4, and that's as far as I'll go.
And we had the disappointing news, obviously, Jerry Flannery having to retire, Shane Horgan being forced to retire as well. Do you feel that then that you're a bit more luckier that you've been able to come back from injury now, and hopefully will be back for a long time? Yeah,
I do hope to play on for another while. It's a bit ironic that I've managed to borrow Shane's top for the interview today, but yeah, I suppose they are huge losses to Irish rugby. Particularly from my own point of view, Shane has been a friend and a great teammate for a number of years. And it'll be very strange not sitting in a dressing room beside him. We have our own way of reacting and building up to games, and we probably are similar in personality in that regard. So it'll be definitely difficult to move on from that. But such is life and such is rugby. So we'll make the best of the situation, and there'll be nothing like a bit of silverware to ease the blow of a few friends retiring and moving on to pastures new.